Good afternoon, how are you doing? Oh, you've got a bit of... Is that all right? Sorry. There you go. Good afternoon, you've timed that just right. It's time to put the kettle on. Put the kettle on, get your favourite cup of tea. I've got something going on here, I'll show you quickly. I'll show you what that is in a sec. Get the kettle on. Let's grab a cuppa. We've got, I don't know how long it's going to take, so you might as well relax, take it easy. Get the kettle boiled and shooting board. We're doing the shooting board. So I've got to tell you, the reason I'm doing the shooting board, a couple of people were still unsure, why are you making a shooting board if you've managed without one for so many years? Two main reasons. One, this gorgeous plane, which I'm really sorry, but off camera I've done a little bit of work to and I've got it sorted, but I'll take you through a plane soon. I promise, I'll take you through a plane soon. I haven't done much. I've cleaned the sides up with a Gary Flex block, which if you haven't seen one, they're very good. Thank you, Gary, for putting me onto those. A bit of polish on the handles and knobs because it was all this red textured, crazed, old record stuff. This is doing pretty good now. It's been sharpened. The sole is looking a bit, but it's flat. And that's sharp. There you go. That's how sharp that is. Come on, get the focus in. Oh, you don't want to focus today. Anyhow, let's get this kettle sorted. Right. Kettle's done. Can you see me? No, you can't. What are you doing all over there? Is that better? I never know where to put you. Oh, that's all right. Okay. So the two main reasons for the shooting board. One was this gorgeous plane, which is even more gorgeous now, and it works a treat. The second reason is the camera over my shoulder. Tolerances are really fine, really tight. I don't want to mess anything up. I don't want to, every little bit I've got to take off as I'm assembling the plate holder is quite critical, and I just don't want to, I'd rather it be too tight and then me adjust it than me adjust it and it become a little bit too loose. So I'm being cautious. I'm also looking after this lovely plane. Kettle's good. Right. So, shooting board. Let me show you the shooting board, where it is. So you saw me last week, I glued it all up, and, oh, come here. And you know what I really should do? I should put the glasses on so I can see what I'm showing you. Right, excuse the mess over here. Anyhow, this is something we used to do on the boats quite a lot, props. So let's get that out of the way. That was a dovetail from last night. Right, let's get this out of the way. What I've done is, do you remember I clamped, I'm going to start taking this apart. Do you remember I glued one piece of wood onto another piece of wood, plywood, last week? And I haven't been touched it since. I've been getting on with other things, other jobs that aren't as interesting. Anyhow, it moved a bit. It was a bit out. So this is the area. Let me get the plane. This is the area where the plane will sit on there, and it will shoot up and down, and it will slide past a fence where I will be fixing a fence at 90 degrees in a bit, and this cuts square to it, and it gives you nice square ends and all sorts. Right. So I, like everybody else into woodworking, I've watched Rob Cosman's video on doing one of these, and I like what Rob does. He's got the luxury of better quality plywood than us, I think, and I think he's got a nice rack somewhere. But anyhow, this middle one was a bit twisted, and I glued that onto it, and I clamped it to the bench, and the bench is pretty flat, but I found I was 3.5 mil in twist. So what does that mean? Let me get you something and show you what it means. Hang on. So I've got this bit of wood, I've just found this out. So what in twist means is, whilst this side, this on this end is sitting flat on there, on this side, one corner is sitting flat and the other has got a gap. And if I do that, hang on, if I put you here, let's sort that out. If I do that and I push the opposite corner, can you see it going up? Right. This thing was lifting 3.5 mil. So that's way too much. I think I'm in beauty mode or something again. I'm losing the focus. I don't know why. Way too much. And then I thought about it, and while Rob does a very good job, he's missed a little thing that I'm concerned with, which is balance. I've got some normal plywood there, normal 3/4 ply, and I've got birch ply that I've put on the top, which was last week. Last night I glued some birch ply to the bottom, so I've got equal birch plies either side of the 3/4 ply now. So at least each side has got a fighting chance of providing the strength to that board to keep it flat. So as you can see, lots of cramps, and these big props that are propping this corner down and that. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this part, and we're going to look at it all, and we're going to see just how good it is. So just wait there a second, I'll just show you. Right, you can see now. So I've taken all the clamps off, except for these two corners. These are the two that, when this corner's down, that corner was high. So it's been propped there all night. Tight bond 3. I'm going to remove this one first, and that's popping up a bit. That's popping up about 3 mil, but it could be because there's so much weight on here. So let's see if I've fixed the problem. If I haven't fixed the problem, I tried. So let's see what's going on now. Let's get rid of that, and let's look and see what's going on. Do you want to come with me and have a look, rather than being over there and me telling you? You can come and have a look. So, right, bearing in mind this table here is sliding, so let's not get too carried away with this gap. But actually, there, that's about 1 mil, and here, that's about 1 mil as well. So I'm expecting to see that corner down. Yeah, that's down. I mean, it looks gappy, but that's... So actually, I think I've got the twist out of it. Got a little bit there. It's actually going down in each corner. So maybe there's a bit of a belly in it now. But anyhow, look, for now, it's not twisted. And that's on the back. So that's much better. Sorry about the flickering lights. So that's much better. So let's get this planed up, because it's uneven around here. Let's get it planed up, and let's sort out the fence for it. Let's get the fence sorted on there. What I'm not going to do to this is, the good old algorithms have thrown up a couple of more woodworkers in front of me, and it's great to see woodworkers out there. And there's a young lad somewhere doing something, and he uses his, sorry, I'm throwing some rubbish away. He uses his shooting board, he turns it over and uses it as a bench hook. We're not doing that. We're not making one item that does 2 jobs, because when you want to do those 2 jobs one after the other repeatedly, all you're going to do is spin this thing over and over and over again. We're not into that. So, and he's done a lot of that. So this is what we've got. Let's do some planing, and let's get this thing sorted. Did you do a cup of tea? Hope you did. Well, mine's sorted. Oh, I've got to say, to all those who've come over from Holly the Boat Cafe, thank you for coming. Subscribers, I can't get over how many subscribers I've gained recently, so thank you for all of that. That's brilliant. Holly, Vic and Joe put me on their latest video. So if you search for Holly the Boat Cafe, look at their latest video. There's some beautiful old boats in there, and I've got a bit more than a mention for doing those A boards, which I'm really grateful for. I certainly didn't expect. Yeah, friendly people, nice people, and I think it's contagious. If we're nice to each other, that's how to do it. If we're horrible to each other, well, I've had my share of that. Right, so let's get this thing sorted. We're playing it down. So I'm just going to square this round. So this is the bit that the plane sits in. So I'm working on that edge first. And I'm just going to get these two flush because the middle piece of ply has been planed down. And I just want to get them square, flush with each other, I should say. At this stage, I'm not worried if I go off the end. It doesn't bother me because I'm going to take that other side off. I've got an interesting project coming up as well, which which Robert's helping sort out. Robert is a very good engineer, pattern maker, and I've got a lovely saw, and that's why this thing's on here. I've got a lovely saw that needs a bit of attention, and I've got some screws from up north somewhere. Nice little handle. I've got a saw problem. The tenon saw's loose and I've got to undo the screws. So Robert's making me a screwdriver to fit the slots on this particular saw, and then it'll be a project on here to go through that saw, because I'll tell you now, if you like Lee Nielsen saws, which I'm lucky enough to have a couple, if you like them, I think this saw was taken, this saw was the inspiration for Lee Nielsen dovetail saws. Bold statement, but it is so similar. And they did say on one of their videos it was from a saw from the 1830s, and that sort of matches with the age of this beautiful Britain saw. So I'm not going to, I'll show you soon, but let's get this sorted. But it's going to be nice, and I want to see if it'll if it can compete with Lee Nielsen, and see if I can get it up there. And even if it doesn't compete, it might be second too, and that's fine. It's good to have your best tools. It's good to have your favourites. And it's also good to have the next one down and the next one down and the next one down, so that when you're doing a job that maybe the wood's not very nice or there's nails or something, you just don't want to use a beautiful saw or plane on something like that, so you use the next one down or the next one down where it doesn't do so much damage. Just remember, we're custodians of these tools. We're not, we don't really own them unless you take them with you. We're just custodians. And that's really interesting actually, because one of my Lee Nielsens is from an old woodworker, and it's this, and it's the saw's second chance. It's its second life, which I think is really cool. That I've managed to get it. But you'll see it soon. Two sides down. So this is all over the place because it was just cut with a saw. And this is my dodgiest corner. That board must have fallen on that corner, So I'm heading out towards that dodgy corner and see if we can tidy it up a little bit. And I had a great chat with Robert this week. He's such an interesting guy. So I'm turning it that way around now. This is my last face. And he learnt his woodworking in a different respect to me. His was for pattern making, and so he'd never come across a shooting board before, and he's been in the business the same length of time as me. So these things, these tools, these jigs, fixtures, they're yeah, you can do them. As I say, that's the reason mine's been done. That and that camera there. But I'm sure I'll use it for other things, and I'll be incredibly, well, I'll make it work. Here we go, down to the nitty gritty. Ripping out that corner. I swept up before I started this. Jigs and fittings are all very well. I'll tell you one that I come across quite a lot. Luthiers. Luthier work is a lot of jigs and templates and things, and you look at a luthier, like a hobbyist luthier, and you look at the guitar, and you look at it and you go, wow, and it's beautiful, and it's all process. It's all process. Each little step of the process is done correctly, and that makes it work, and it's very good. But some of these guys have asked me to do some things that I was just like, what, you can't do that, and yet you can produce a tool, like you can, you know, produce an instrument, and it's and some of it surprises me. So jigs and things are great, but we have to be aware that you need the skills as well. You need the hand skills. You need time served. You've got to get those hours in. You've got to understand what's going on with your plane, why it isn't working, why your saw's not cutting right. All these different things. You can't just be high-end. I know somebody that sort of bothers me a bit. It's all high-end stuff, and his skills are because he's got the best tools. Give him something a bit dodgy and I think he'd fall over. And that's a really, it's an iffy area. Where are we? I'm rattling. Oh, I ought to shut up, hadn't I? Right, so that's got up to there. So now we're square-ish, and you know what? We're square enough. This doesn't need to be square. There's no need for it to be square. First thing I'm going to do is put a block on the back to stop it being moved forward. So let me find a piece of wood for that, and then you can join me in a sec. So sorry about this. So I've knocked up a couple of bits of wood. I've got myself a strip of beech, which is pretty good, and if you've got a nice flat bed, you can put it on a flat bed to just see which way you're going to fix it. It wouldn't hurt to fix it that way. That's going to go on there like so. Turn that over. Yeah, that's correct, because I'm right-handed. 4 screws in here, don't need to mark them. About 1.5 inches in from the end. Clearance hole, which means that the screw goes in through it. Now this is a proper clearance hole. In my last video when I was gluing the A-boards together, I mentioned clearance hole, but I've got something special going on there. Put it in the comments, ask about it, and I'll tell you why I did it. But anyhow, this is a proper clearance hole. It means that as this thread on the bottom pulls into this piece of wood, this piece of wood isn't causing any, it isn't stopping it being pulled in. If this didn't go all the way through, this would hit the board like that. It would sometimes lift away from there, from the piece. It wouldn't actually clamp the two together. It's more of a mechanical fixing. Sorry about that, Robert. I'll get there in the end. Right, I'm going to drill this. You guys can hang on a sec while I just drill this. Okay, here's a little one from the boats a long time ago. Don't just countersink the side you're doing. Countersink the other side to make sure there's no fluff there. It also means that the glue... Oh yeah, drill onto a piece of scrap. It means that the glue can congregate around there, and it just makes sure that it pulls down properly. Now this is the side that the screws are going in. So yeah, shooting board. I'm looking forward to it being done now, so that I can get on with the camera, which I'll be back on. I'll be back on it in a bit, actually. I think this video's gone on too long. Sorry about that. Right, so that's ready to go on there. I'm just going to double check. Remember, measure twice, cut once, all of that lot. Well, make sure you're screwing it on the right piece. I'm right-handed. I need that to be there. So the stop needs to be under there like that. Hold the two, throw it over, turn that over, ready to put it on. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to... I could have piloted these holes first, but hey ho, we'll see. They'll be alright, I think. Bit of glue. Could have knocked off the corner. Not worried about it. The corner. Oh, I don't need that, do I? Sorry, I'm thinking of the other side. I'm onto the other. That's where my head is already. I'm onto the other side already. 4 screws. I've only got 1.5 inch screws here. The rest, I think my 1 3/4 are at home. So this is one for Brian. Yes, Brian, battery drivers. One of the only battery tools that I think are worth having, because I think this is on high. Too fast. Keep the speed slow. Battery drivers worth having because you'll get your use out of them. But not keen on anything else with batteries really. So this is going down nice, making sure it's flush. And it doesn't really matter if it's not. This isn't a Rolls Royce job, this is just a jig. That's done. Next bit, there. And I've got one prepared earlier. That's going to go there. I'm going to pause you in a sec, just so that I can catch up with all this. And I think you ought to see this now. I think you should see what I'm doing. So let me just hang on there a sec. I thought I should show you, because now if you look at it, look at the gap between the, when there's a pencil, there is no gap there. No gap there. That looks like the gap, but it isn't a gap, it's a shadow. How can I show you that isn't a gap? There you go, no gap there. And no gap there. And if I grab something like a piece of paper and show you that, there you go, piece of paper would rather buckle than go under there. So a piece of paper is what, 4 thou? Won't go under there. Won't go under there. So, oh, there you go, it's gone under. That's fine. That's got a password on for something. Oh, blimey. Obviously, I'm going to change that. Oh, that's my old password from the thing. That's okay. Anyhow, look, that goes under there. But we're talking the thickness of a paper. So this thing isn't going to be far out. Right, I'll tell you what else I've done. Useful thing to do. I'm looking for, and there's no flannel here, this is the real thing. This saw's pretty flat, this extrusion, and I'm happy with that being the face. Now if you look at the gap in the middle, see that gap? That's because that gap will go down when I screw it in place. But this face, that's why I put F on it, is actually sitting pretty flat. There's a micro, it's nothing, it really is nothing. Can't be, you've got to stop being this fussy. The hand skills will get it as well. So anyhow, that's my face. That's what I've done there. I've just checked out which is the best side, and this is good enough now to go on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set all this up. I'm going to do it the Rob Cosman way. I love his way of doing it, which is by sitting the plane against that surface. And if we look at this edge, it's crisp. This video is going on longer than I thought, but it doesn't matter. It's worth it. It's worth it. So, and that feels great. Now, Rob was exactly right. The man is a YouTube woodworking god as far as I'm concerned. He's exactly right. That has got to be perfectly flat, because if it's not, and the plane wanders halfway across, it's going to affect your piece of wood that you've got in here that you're trying to square the end of. So, the man is right. So this at the moment, and don't forget I did chamfer under there as well for you, all you Rob Cosman fans. So this is sitting beautifully here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that, I'm going to work out where it is, and I think there's pretty good. Let's get the tape measure. What have we got here? We've got 15, I'll tell you what, let's make it 16 inches. Let's push it out to about 16 inches. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. But then you look at it and you think, well, actually, if I push it out to 16 inches, the blade, I'm going to go that much further. I don't want to go that far, really. I don't want the plane to go that far off the board. I would rather the plane go, let's say, to that knob, the middle of the knob. That means then it's still stable at that point. So I'm going to move this to the back of the mouth there, and that's its position. So I'm just going to put a small pencil line there, and I'm going to say that's where it's going. So I'm going to grab a square, we're going to square this up, and we're going to do it the Rob Cosman way, because he's right. Glue that on that square, leave it another day, come back, bang 3 screws in it, job done. So as you can see, it's nearly done. I've got some tickling up to do. This was my really broke out corner, which I don't mind, because I think I'm going to end up just taking this corner off. But great to use scrap ply. All this is scrap wood. So, you know, this is a pretty good way of doing it. Don't go and buy wood to do this. Use your offcuts from jobs. Right, what's next? Get the square. Hang on a sec. You just wait there. I'll go and get the square. How's the tea going anyhow? You drinking your tea? Let's not forget the tea. Right, so blade is in, so that it's out the way. Blade or iron, whatever you want to call it, I don't mind. That's coming down there. Got my pencil line there, and I've just double checked that, and I've put another pencil line there, because that new pencil line is actually bang on 16 inches, and there's something quite nice about 16 inches, 400mm. There's something I quite like about it. So that's ready to go there, that's ready to go there, that's ready to glue on, and I think that'll be pretty good. Now, do I pull it back a little bit away from the mouth? I think I will. I'll get a piece of paper. Where's that piece of paper? I think I'll just fold that in half, and I'm sure somebody's probably done this better than me. I'm going to fold that in half. I'm going to put 2 thicknesses of paper in there, because 2 thicknesses of paper would be one hell of a cut. So you wouldn't want to do that. So there you go. That's all set up. So that's where it's going. And then I've just got to glue it down in place. So let's do that now while you guys are still here. Remembering that's my face. I'm just going to check that the face is square. So I'm just going to check that this wood is Oh, good grief. Wish I could show you some of this. Face to bottom. So it's bottom to face that I want square. It doesn't really matter about the others because they're not going to get used. But bottom to face is, where are you? Is pretty flipping good. So I'm happy with that. So let's get this glue on here. You guys come back down here. That won't get edited out. Right. How you doing in here? Comments are welcome, and sharing and liking. I mean, this is I didn't really want this to be a project. I don't know where we are at the moment. Oof, 30 minutes, but real time, no editing. So not you on your. You've only been off for a few seconds while I've been and fetched some other tools and things. You haven't missed much. I'm going to sneeze again. Bless me. I've got this bad habit of wiping the glue on the end of the bench. Right, can you see what's going? No, you can't. Why didn't you say? Excuse me. Right, so that's going to go there. Paper's going to go there. That's on that line. That pulls that way. Shall I put this in? I'm not going to put it in the vise now. It's all right. Pull the square against the plane. Pull that round. Come on, you're not square yet. Blimey, it just wants to grip this glue. Gotta say it, this glue is fantastic. You put it on and it's just... I hadn't even set it down properly and it was just gripping. Right, that's it. I'm going to put a couple of cramps on there. Back in a sec. Right, so that's cramped up. Oh, you're back. Good. That's cramped up. Just going to pour another one of these. Yeah, so I've hung it off the end of the bench. I'll show you in a sec. I've hung it off the end of the bench and it's looking pretty good. I've double checked the squareness, so that's good. Come here, let me show you because you can't.